Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Welcome to Season 13 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by the SCCA Foundation and Butt Kicker, where some of the best virtual GTP, LMP2, and GT3 racers will do battle here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod in the commentary box, and tonight we have Sam Fitzpatrick. He's filling in for Jonathan Grabowski, working behind the scenes to give us all the best views of tonight's action. And so the last time the World Challenge raced in the shadow of Mount Fuji, it was the Season 10 finale where Tanner Dibble was winning GTP and young Leo Dragota was much younger, taking a win and securing his very first GT3 Pro Championship. But Larry, so much has changed since then. Welcome to Fuji and welcome to Season 13.
Yeah, it is a brand new season, but it has been a little bit since we've run Fuji, and I'm hoping the drivers remember some of the chaotic things that we had happen, and hopefully we can resolve some of that. And they got to get the season off to the proper kind of start. We got some old faces back. We got some new faces. We've got the people that we'd expect to be here, and maybe some we're going to miss this season. But this could be an exciting season. As always, huge field tonight. I'm really psyched to get this thing rolling.
Yeah, I am as well. You know, as you said, we've got some new faces here. You know, I'm just looking right now. Ethan Bass, one of the new drivers in the series from the Orbit Drop Bear Motorsport team in his Ford Mustang early on here in qualifying, going to the top of the leaderboard in GT3. But as we've got our drivers, they're out for qualifying right now. We're about 9 minutes into a 15-minute qualifying session where we give our drivers 4 attempts, 4 flying laps to set their fastest times and set the grid for this evening's races. Let me just quickly give you a rundown of the different classes that we have. We do have, of course, GTP, the fastest prototypes you're going to see here in the series, and in the GTP class. And I'm looking to see if we have any out on track currently. You'll be able to pick them out. They're going to have black number boards, black windshield banners, and end plates on their wings. Then we will have our LMP2 racers, all in the Delara P217s. They will have blue number boards and blue windshield banners and end plates on their wings, much like young Dean Dibdahl, who returns to us here at the Ricmotech series after a number of years off and a number of years racing Spec Miata out in the real world. Now I think he's all of about 17 years old. And in the GT3 ranks, we've got our GT3 Pro racers like Mike Dam here, many-time champion here in the World Challenge in his Orion Porsche. The Pro cars will have the red number boards, red windshield banners, mirrors, and end plates on their wings. And the AM class cars, like, well, I think we don't have any AM-class racers out there, but our AM-class racers, they've got, oh, there is one right there. That's Julio Barrero. He has the green number boards, mirrors, end plates on the wings, and windshield banners. That's how you'll pick out the pros from the AMs. And Larry, as we take a look here at timing and scoring, early on, it is Bailey Petrowski, our current leader in GTP, and with all of our GTP racers, I believe, having set qualifying times, he should be your pole sitter for the class. In LMP2, Dean Dibdahl, who we just showed you on screen, your fastest driver. I think Caleb Lehman, the only driver who did not complete 4 laps, but he decided to take his car back to the pit lane. So Dean Dibdahl should be your pole sitter in LMP2. And now we've got sitting up at the top of the leaderboard in GT3 Pro, Stacy Bertrand. Bertrand is, I've got to make some changes here. Bertrand, I believe, is in one of the Delaras this season, running in LMP2. So Mike Dam, currently your fastest driver in GT3 Pro. And now on a cool-down lap, as we look at Jeff Jacobs from the SCCA Foundation, one of the few GT3 racers still out on track in his Ford Mustang, looking to complete his final lap, trying to move up from, I believe, 24th in Pro currently, Larry.
Yeah, a lot of folks already out there on this huge Fuji track, and you can see, if you aren't that familiar with it, it has this section. What if I want to call it hated, but certainly a most challenging section of a track you'll find. It's a whole lot of switchbacks, and I can tell you, after having called one of these World Challenges a couple seasons back, creates a lot of time delta differences there between the GT3s do, as opposed to perhaps what one of our 3 GTPs would go ripping through there. So it could be interesting. A lot of delicate use of the right pedal through that section should be interesting as this race is going. What do we have? 48 cars in the field signed in tonight? That's incredible.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's do this, Larry, because he's sitting in the green room waiting for us right now. Why don't we bring in one of our series, at least he was waiting for us in the green room, one of our series regulars, Travis Schwenke, who was queued up to speak with us, but I think he may have gone back to get ready for tonight's race. If we see him pop in here before the end of qualifying in the next minute and a half or so, we will bring him in.
Meanwhile, as you mentioned, we got Mike Dam on provisional pole right now in the GT3 category. Teammate, young Leo Dragota, just alongside him. I believe the champ from last season, in fact, Leo Dragota there. So
That is absolutely correct. We talked about him winning his first championship back in season 10. This past season, he was your GT3 Pro Championship. And maybe this is one of the talking points that we would have had with Travis, Larry, is that the Orion race team this season, after having been so dominant last season in the Acura NSX GT3 machine, and not just the Orion team, but it really seemed to be a bit of an overdog here in the series. Orion's now moved back to the 911.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. They were in that, of course, a couple seasons back, so we'll see if we can get some feedback from Travis or some of the Orion teams. If not, I'll ask them post-race should one of them end up on our podium in class. For now, we'll just kind of watch them. We know that they've been comfortable in that car. Leo, going back to before he even joined Orion, was very comfortable in that Porsche. So we'll see if he gets back in his groove tonight. A couple of his Orion teammates in the field, but a couple of new names out there as well. I see an Ethan Bass out there. Hadn't seen him before. We got a Michael Brooks. There's a name I recognize. He's back in the field, currently gridded fourth. So, yeah, some new names, old names. This is going to be interesting. Couple folks.
Yeah, and a matter of fact, across all the different classes, Larry, at last check, let's see, 2, 3, we've got about 10 rookies here across the entire field. So looking forward to seeing what they can do against the regulars here in the World Challenge, as we're just about 20 seconds from wrapping qualifying, and I believe all of our racers have put in their maximum of 4 flying laps, and we should be gridding up here momentarily.
That should do it right there at the official end of qualifying. Quick little drivers meeting for them, and then they will be joining the grid.
All right, and I want to remind everybody that tonight's race stewards and our real live starter provided by the SCCA Foundation, providing funding for the SCCA Academy, who trains the next generation of race workers and volunteers that make real life road racing events possible. Visit sccafoundation.org for more information. All right, Larry, so as we get our drivers coming to the grid, let's take a look at the starting order here. If you don't mind, I'll take the prototypes if you'll take the GT cars tonight. Starting on pole from D2D Sim Racing, it is Bailey Petrowski with a qualifying time of 1:30.692. Kevin Carlisle from Sim City is going to be starting to his side, and that will make up row number 1. On row number 2, it is Aaron Beaver, and he will start third. And tonight, a pretty small GTP field here, Larry. Just 3 racers. Our pole sitter in LMP2, Dean Dibdahl from Rocket Ship Racing, with Carson Cushman, the Purple Sector Motorsports racer, starting on the outside of row number 1. Caleb Lehman from SRT Esport will join his teammate Josh Chinsky there in row number 2, with another newcomer to the series, Jordan Griffin from Purple Sector Motorsport, starting in fifth position, with Stacy Bertrand from Rockefeller Racing starting in 6th.
All right, on the GT3, sitting on pole tonight, we already talked about a little. He's going to probably be talked about a lot. Orion Race Team's Mike Dam, just barely edging out his defending champ teammate Leo Dragoda, also from Orion. On row 2, we got on the inside one of our newcomers from the Orbit Drop Bear Motorsports, Ethan Bass. On the outside of row 2, from the wrong stuff, he is back. It's Michael Brooks. Now on row 3, on the inside, it's going to be another one of our Orion entries. Taj Edwards, alongside him, is going to be Milan Harris from the Rockefeller Racing GT3. Next row back, Ken Copeland from the wrong stuff. Good to see him back, lined up alongside Rockefeller Racing's John Kroom. We get another Rockefeller driver on the next row, Keith Stein from Rockefeller Racing, alongside Brian Bennett from Sector 5. Then we've got Shay McNeely from Orion, new Orion driver joining us here tonight, alongside Tyler King from Aerokinetics. And they got Keel Spalding from 704 Motorsport, another newcomer, and his teammate Colin Winslow from 704 Motorsport. Next row back, Rockefeller Racing GT3's Charlie Hosea, and he'll be lined up alongside Orion Race Team and dissing us for the pre-race interview, Travis Schwenke.
Oh, my.
Next row back, Julio Barrero, Speed Lab Dream to Inspire, Ilya Speaker from Rockefeller Racing, Radburn Shooters from Eagle Beavers, Ryan Amon from SimCity Racing, Zach DeLeva Aerokinetics, Brian Coxon, a privateer, Carlos Barrera from Speed Lab Dream to Inspire, Filippo Barberi, Speed Lab Dream to Inspire, Josh Vidal, HSR Phantom Racing, Rocky Rocco, Rockefeller Racing, Jeff Jacobs, SCCA Foundation. Lucas Dragotta, Chad Sebring, Andre Wedderburn, Adam Ballard, Jimbo Pfeiffer, Aaron Sunday, Ryan Steinoff, Greg Brockway, Neil Weston, Pan Hiraday, John Casey, and Russ Ruddick. I think that winds it out.
That winds out the field here, Larry, as the pace car now heads to the pit lane, turning the field over, our very small GTP field, over to Bailey Petrowski as our starter looks over the field. And GTP racers have the green flag, and our LMP2 racers will take the green, as well as the GT3 racers come down towards the starter stand, as we have Bailey Petrowski jumping out to an early lead in his Ferrari. Kevin Carlisle and Aaron Beaver dropping in the second and third. Dean Dibdahl, our pole sitter in LMP2, jumps to the lead over Caleb Lehman, but Dean Dibdahl has issues at the first corner. We'll take a look at that as he drops back through the field. Our GT3 racers, Leo Dragotta, Michael Brooks, Ethan Bass, they take the green with the Orion Porsche. They're jumping out to an early lead. Michael Brooks in the Lamborghini, Ethan Bass in the Ford. Now finally getting in line as they now head into the Coca-Cola corner over at turn 3.
We'll check and see what happened to Dibdahl in a minute. Meanwhile, we've got the fields running through. There's a good shot of those the LMP2s right there, with Caleb Lieben now leading the way. Carson Cushman going to get the inside line. Lieben kind of missed his braking point, going to have to slalom the barriers to get through and catch it with the back of the field. It should put him right along. It should be a Stacy Bertrand then right in front of him.
Yeah, that'll move Lehman now back in the 5th position, as he just was late on the braking, Larry. Cold tires, which has been an issue for these LMP2 cars since an update to the iRacing service a couple of months ago. And he just went too deep into the corner, couldn't make the turn, as we've got mayhem now going into the chicane.
Wow. All kinds of chaos.
And, interesting, Larry, I think the last time we were here for the World Challenge for that Season 10 finale, we did not run the version with the chicane. So although our racers did have practice here earlier in the week, obviously, when they're all compressed down in the one spot there on the very first lap, gets a little hectic for them. As we watch now, this is the battle for the lead, with Cushman, with Chinsky, with Jordan Griffin, and then the last car the blue car in the back is Dean Dibdahl, who was your pole sitter.
Not far behind him, I believe, is should be Lehman now trying to catch up with this pack. Dibdahl, of course, and Lehman both having struggles on that opening lap. We'll see if they can get their way through. Certainly, Dibdahl looks antsy to try and do that. Meanwhile, the GT3s, after their issues in the chicane, have kind of spread out just a little bit. This is the battle of Ethan Bass, and I believe that's a Michael Brooks in the 83 Lamborghini right behind him, with Taj Edwards, one of our Orion cars, just trailing there. So Leo now up to a bit of lead. Actually, Mike Dam and then Taj Edwards back there as they go through the opening second lap now.
And Larry already have a penalty handed down, and that is to, and we were talking just before we went on air, that it was good to see Rocky Rocco Corby from Rockefeller Racing. He tried to get an early jump on his return here, and has a drive-through penalty for poking out a line on the start. All right, so let's take a look here now at this big incident, as we've got one of our Mustangs that had gone around.
Yeah, Rocco gets hit there. I don't know that that's where the penalty is, but then it just sort of continues as he tried to just move as the pack came through. I don't know if that's what the penalty is for.
I think that's more insult to injury. The penalty was for popping out of line on the start. So, he gets the double whammy there, and I think that might have been Ryan Amon, one of our rookies in the number 87 machine that had gone around there at the start, precipitating that issue. As we jump back, as we take a look at another one of the Rockefeller Racing entries, and I think that was Charlie Hosea that that was Milan Harris in the Acura, just getting passed by Ken Copeland. Good to see Ken back with us.
Yeah, great to see him in there. Milan Harris, John Kroom, his teammate from Milan Harris, both those Rockefeller Racing cars right in line back there. But Copeland now trying to catch up to that front group. He's got a Taj Edwards, and then not too far back from that group that's stacking up. So keep your eye on Bennett. We've always talked about lately with him that his qualifying isn't always great, but once he gets into a groove, he's fast. We'll see if he does the same through here. But Copeland, we know is fast. We'll see what he can do with the Orions now in front of him.
Yeah, indeed. Ken Copeland, our Season 9 GT3 Pro champion, and took a couple seasons off, but good to see him back. All right, let's take a look, Larry. Great view of that turn 1 accident that we saw.
That was the
sent Ryan
entry.
Amon back to the back of the pack.
I think that might have been Zach Deleva who was given the drive-through penalty for it, and I bet that was him in the aerokinetics entry that caused some of that spinning at the apex. So penalty being issued for Zach Deleva, black flag drive-through. Meanwhile, Team Dibdall has already gotten around Josh Chinsky and Jordan Griffin, now has his sights set on leader Carson Cushman. So Dibdall working his way through the pack after being on pole and losing it on the opening lap. He's looking pretty quick. Do I hear more penalties being issued? More
penalties coming in, Larry. This is for the 151 machine. That's Andre Wedderburn, who's taking his car down the pit lane now to, we assume, to serve his drive-through penalty, impacting the 247 machine. That was Rocky Rocco. And so Wedderburn moving over from, I think last time we saw him, he was in one of the Corvettes, if I remember correctly. And new chassis for him, but you know, always races tough, doesn't give any quarter. Sometimes it comes back to bite him, Larry, as we go on board now with John Kroom looking back at the Acura of Milan Harris directly behind. And this is... And Larry here, right at the battle for second in GTP between Aaron Beaver and Kevin Carlisle. Carlisle there for a moment holding strong, but under braking, gives up position to the BMW of Beaver. All the while, Bailey Petrowski, our GTP leader, has opened up about 4 seconds on the rest of the field.
That's Ken Copeland. It is. Having some issues there. We were just talking about him starting to make his way towards that front pack. This is going to set him back a little bit. Now he comes out right in front of Travis Schwenke and Shea McNeely, a couple of the other Orion drivers, not where near the Orions he thought he would be, but here's the replay. Through these last couple of corners, gets out on that sausage curve, and wow, puts it on 2.
Oh, wow.
And recovers.
And recovers and goes to live another lap or another day.
May not have a left side mirror on the car anymore, but he does end up back on his wheels. That's impressive. Let's see another replay of this.
Oh, my.
Wow.
Hey, Larry, I think we made the podcast.
Ken Block reincarnated right there. As he's getting in the car. Unbelievable stuff.
I mean, I've heard of showroom stock cars driving on their door handles, but that goes much further than what I had expected there. And the fact that he's now back up on the wheel and picking up more positions here, this is
I think
amazing.
he only lost, I'm counting maybe 6 spots.
6 spots,
7.
I think,
So
yeah, he was up to
impressive.
I think 8th at the time, and now finds himself in 13th position. As this is the battle for the lead in in LMP2 with Carson Cushman, who inherited the lead from our pole sitter Dean Dibdall on lap 1, getting very defensive going down into turn 1, and for the moment Dibdall just doesn't seem to have a defense or an offensive answer.
Well, one of the things about these cars is they do get a little bit of an aero wash when you get up close to them. We'll see if Dean's able to do anything. Let's also remember that Carson Cushman joined the last Ricmotech World Challenge Series mid-season, won a string of events, didn't have enough participation to win a championship. He's on a bit of a mission now to do that. Now Dibdall comes in his experience and his speed in these cars, he's really going to be pushing Cushman for a fight this season.
All right, as we were just on board with Mike Dam, nice pass there on Michael Brooks's Lamborghini to move up into 3rd position, just ahead the Mustang of newcomer Ethan Bass in the 219 machine.
yeah, all of this fighting here, second place down to fifth or so, has allowed Leo Dragotta to build a bit of a lead. I think it's what Mike Dam's worried about. Otherwise, he doesn't normally get this aggressive at this stage of a race. Typically, he just stays in line and waits till the fuel stop to do his thing. Tonight, though, he's got to make moves. Gets past Brooks. Now he's got his eyes set on Bass, not too far ahead. By the way, I see that Rich Dibdall has taken over young Dean's account in YouTube and is now posting in the chat.
But is Rich Dibdall as humorous as Dean is in the chat? I think that's probably the bigger question. Rich, if this tire saving thing of Dean's doesn't work out for him, he's always got some comedy chops to fall back on. Set him on the stand-up circuit.
Dean just made the pass on Carson Cushman going into one. So as we're talking about his dad, the kid that says, hey, what about me? And he makes the pass. New leader in LMP2, Dean Dibdall. Next week, he can work on a livery.
Actually, I just went further back in the pack, and Rich asked, I know the drivers were just on their out lap, but can we get an update on Dean's tires? Maybe Rich and Dean should do like a Laurel and Hardy stand-up circuit routine together.
Perhaps.
There's Dean Dibdall starting to work his way through the back of the GT3 field.
Yeah, I think that was the 151 of Wedderburn, I believe, that he just went through there, and a few others as they make their way through these final couple of corners of the lap. But this is where traffic gets interesting between these two. There's a good shot. Tyler King in that battle now with Travis Schwenke and Shea McNeely, as Ken Copeland's recovery has now stretched him away from these couple here. Shea McNeely, Ilya Speaker in that group, in that McLaren, and then I think there's actually Speaker's in an Acura. You got Brian Cox and Leo Barrero both in McLarens, not too far from this little battle.
Yeah, and a new Barrero joining us here in the field this evening, Larry, and that is over in the AM category. Actually, I think, just one new Barrero. It is Carlos Barrero in another one of the Speed Lab cars, racing in his Lamborghini Huracan. He's also out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I think we mentioned there Shea McNeely, a new racer to us on the Orion team out of Oregon. So glad to see Shea here. Oh, another car goes flying over some of the sausage curbs there, just as we were watching that shot. And I think Shea here in the World Challenge replacing Akira Iwata, who was so strong at the beginning of season 12, Larry, and unfortunately wasn't able to make it for the rest of the season.
Considering Land of the Rising Sun at Fuji, but also Akira Iwata's homeland. It's about 10:30 in the morning on a Tuesday right now, so if he has work to do, it's kind of tough to accommodate. I'm glad even our West Coasters, though, as you mentioned, one of our newcomers from Oregon, only 5:30 in the afternoon, able to jump on the sim rig and get racing in. That's great to see.
And
quite the spin.
And we have contact. Yes, that was Aaron Beaver going around, getting a little bit of a tap, I think, from one of our Lamborghinis there, and we'll get the number off of the other car involved in just a moment, but. I think that's probably a question where the GT3 car not able to anticipate not one of the Lamborghinis, one of the McLarens. And that's Jimbo Pfeiffer. Yeah. And interesting there is Pfeiffer has another spin. And Larry, I would have thought that maybe Pfeiffer would have been able to anticipate the greater braking abilities of the GTP cars, given that I think last season we had him racing, was it in one of the Delaras, if I remember correctly. That we had him in one of the prototype fields, as we've got more contact in the GT3. Contact.
That's the 45 is the Rockefeller Racing and John Kroom, and he was in the battle there with, I think, was that Brian Bennett that he touched?
I think it was Brian Bennett was there, and Ken Copeland got caught up in that as well. So Copeland just can't seem to avoid.
I think it was Bennett in the 71 is the one, the initial count. Let's check the replay here. So there's the Lamborghini, the 71. That is Bennett, who's on the outside here, still on the inside. And I think Kroom misjudged. And there you can see, is that Copeland trying to squeeze by?
That's Ken Copeland
on the inside,
caught up at the tail end of it and ended up losing the nose cone there. just cannot seem to stay. It just seems to be a danger magnet here tonight.
The other, I don't know if it was Keel Spalding or one of the other Mercedes that was also in that same area when the contact initially happened. So that one may have affected just about everybody. Meanwhile, this guy.
Meanwhile, where it's calm and peaceful and quiet, Larry.
Yeah, Leo Dragota, your defending champ in the World Challenge, jumps from the Acura, jumps over to the Porsche, has no problem, loves the Porsche, and here he is, working on a 3.5 second advantage over newcomer Ethan Bass, and then Leo's teammate Mike Dam, the Canadian, just right there. You can see them in the background there, the Mustang of Bass and then the Porsche of Dam. Section of the track takes so much control of the pedals, keep the car. We already saw what happens when you hit those curbs coming around that turn 15 into 16. We saw what happens when you catch those sausage curbs, but there's so much camber change there. And that's Brian Bennett again. We just saw him involved in the previous one. Now he's got himself off to driver's right. My goodness. And that's Copeland again going slow this time through turn 16.
And I'm wondering if it's just a question of Copeland trying to limp the car back to the pits after the last incident. Let's take a look and see how this one transpired.
There's Bennett in the Lamborghini, already with some damage, I think, on the one side. So he's now sweeps off the driver's right there around turn 13. Trying to stay out of the way. Meanwhile, I don't know how Copeland ended up all the way down the inside of this mess. Maybe trying to avoid it?
Did he miss the chicane?
He may have.
Yeah, he missed the chicane.
And then just to avoid rejoining.
He just took it off the circuit again, I think, Larry, to be able to limp the car back to the pits and get repairs after the last.
Wow, he is. Yeah, he's in the pits now. So yeah, quite a run there for Ken Copeland. So welcome back to the league, Ken. Welcome back to the series. Hopefully round 2 next time in 2 weeks goes better than round 1 has. Oh. Dragon Sport Racing's Lucas Dragota running back into one of the Porsches tonight. He's got Adam Ballard right behind him.
Yeah, after some time where Lucas had spent time in the Dragon Sport Mercedes AMG GT3 for a number of seasons, and I think this is where we saw he and young Leo start their.
Adam Ballard is really lunging a little bit. I think he's misjudging the braking behind young Lucas. And that just cost him a couple spots as I think it's Aaron Sunday and Ryan Amon just buzzed right through him. You know, you can always watch. Some people brake earlier than you do. And Lucas now has gone off in the next corner. So things not working out either for Lucas or for Ballard.
Well, seemingly for anybody, Larry, except for maybe Leo Dragota, Ethan Bass, and Mike Dam. As we watch here a little bit further back in the pack, and this is Ryan Amon in the Mustang, and Aaron Sunday, another one of our rookie racers, in the 331 Lamborghini as they work their way, head down into turn number 1, the hairpin there, after this very long straightaway at Fuji. Hard on the brakes, turn in somewhat late, and then power down the hill. And there you go. The Mustang of Amon from the inside takes over, 21st position. And I'd like to apologize to everybody. We thought for a little while we'd be able to go and discern between the pro and the AM drivers on our timing and scoring. Unfortunately, not able to do that for you this evening. But again, the AM drivers all with the green number boards and mirrors and windshield banners, and we'll try to get that information for you by the end of the evening as far as how the AM drivers all finished up tonight's race.
Well, a battle of AMs right here with Aaron Sunday. He was in that battle there with Ryan Amon, a couple of those there, as well as Adam Ballard. So good battles going on. Speaking of battles, this is getting a little bit crazy now with Keith Stein in the Corvette going 3 wide. That's not going to work out.
Oh, and more cars in the air. And Larry, I was going to say one car to watch here is the yellow and black Porsche that is Keel. I believe that is Keel.
Keel
Spalding. Keel Spalding
Winslow.
in the 8. No, I'm sorry. He's in the
Winslow's
Mercedes.
in the Porsche.
Yep, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was thinking of Keel Spalding in the Mercedes, the 704 Motorsports car. He was actually your fastest driver here during practice during the week.
Okay.
Put in times of let's see here, 139.7 in his GT3 Mercedes, and almost a full second faster than our pole sitter.
This pack is getting spicy. So Shane McNeely right there, you can see in the Orion Porsche with the purple trim. Right there on the heels of Keith Stein, who's just trying to control that Corvette right now. And then right in front of Stein is that Porsche of Colin Winslow, but right behind them, Tyler King, Travis Schwenke. Schwenke urging to try and get past King, and he might have finally done it as they headed now up towards the chicane. And I think Schwenke's got the advantage on those Porsche brakes, trying not to run in the back at Ilya Speaker, who's jumped into one of the Acuras this season. We've seen in the past Speaker in a Porsche, I believe.
Porsche.
Yeah. Speaker now trying to come to grips with the Acura. And one of the Rockefeller Racing GT3s probably he'll have his Rockefeller Oreo cookie livery on in 2 weeks that we hit for round 2. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Going too wide in through the chicane.
Oh, my.
And I think, again, that's part of that other battle. So that's Bennett sort of out in front of this. Charlie Hosea, Neil Weston, John Casey, all in this crowd.
And that entrance to the chicane, Larry, coming through Dunlop there is so incredibly difficult, because it's essentially a 180-degree turn to get into the chicane with almost no room to get it done. And when you have two cars go in there side by side, as we've seen now on multiple occasions, it's more or less mayhem.
Well, we're on board here with Stacy Bertrand in one of our LMP2s, trying to work through this GT3 traffic as she goes to the right down the straightaway. Got a little bit better straightaway speed. One of the Rockefeller Racing Porsches coming out of the pits there right alongside her. She's going to watch out for her driver's right, along with the 71 of Brian Bennett now just in front of her in that GT3.
And Larry, there's a question in the chat coming in from Justin Barrera, and wants to know if there are still spots open in the series. And yes, the announcers do know. And the answer is yes. If you go to xmsracing.com/series/RWC and go down to the very bottom of the screen, there'll be a big button there that you can go and join to sign up for round number 2 of the Ricmotech World Challenge.
I'd love to have a Barrera in the field to go with our Barreros in the field and our Barberi in the field. It would be great. Looking forward to it, Justin. Come on in. Ken Copeland, on the other hand, is going to file a protest against sausage curbs at Fuji as he's in the chat now. Ken, that was a rough way to go out, but impressive. All right, so getting a good look there at Josh Vidal, running here in GT3s this season. I remember, wasn't he in a LMP2 last season?
He was one of our front runners in LMP2 last season, indeed.
Yeah, along with Josh Chinsky and Carson Cushman, Caleb Lehman, all those guys back. And now throw in a Dibdall and a few others. And
you know what GTP needs, Larry? It needs a Bobby Childs.
It does need a Bobby Childs.
It does.
Could use a few others too, but I think it could definitely use a Bobby.
As we're on board again, that newcomer to the series, Ryan racer Shea McNeely, and you can see they're just ahead of McNeely. That was Keith Stein in the Corvette, Larry, as he took a much shallower entry into the chicane there and goosed the throttle and saw the rear end come around. I think most other racers, when they're having the opportunity, they are deciding to go a little bit deeper on the brakes in order to get the car to rotate and try to straighten up the entry in there. Much easier to put the power down that way. As
we take a look at, I believe that is Carson Cushman, second place in the LMP2, is trying to make his way through traffic. Now about 4 seconds back from Diddahl is, yeah, there he is right there in front of us. We're on board with Shane McNeely. Shane, of course, trying to get along Keith Stein in one of the Corvettes as they go through that turn 1 hairpin. Stein's got the advantage. Cushman clears out.
Yeah, so McNeely trying to use the draft off the back of the LMP2 car. Unfortunately, I think got into the draft a little bit too late.
It's tough. That inside line's pretty good in turn 1.
Yeah.
There is room to be out there in turn 1. You can go too wide, but it's
a long way around.
It's such a sharp, turn 1. Meanwhile, more LMP2s coming through. I want to say that's probably Caleb. Yep, that's the 819 of Caleb Lehman trying to come through. Meanwhile, the 18 of Josh Chinsky doing the same thing on the other side. Jordan Griffin also in this pack of LMP2s. Trying to get past Shane McNeely now, and that is some close door-to-door quarters there between them. Good work on all those drivers' hands. Well done.
All right, Larry, I'm going to take a look here, see when our pit windows might be opening for GTP. I think we're actually already into the pit window here as our racers are working lap number 17 by my poor calculations. Should have opened up about 2 laps ago, right around the start of lap number 15, and we'll expand out to lap number 35 as drivers will need to come in to take fuel in order to make it to the checkered flag across all 3 of our different classes. For the LMP2 racers, lap number 18 should be about where their window opens, so just about 2.5 laps from now for our leaders here in class, are actually about a lap and a half for our leaders, Dean Dibdahl, Carson Cushman, Caleb Lehman in LMP2. The GT3 racers actually have already entered their pit window, a very, very wide pit window tonight based on the fuel economy of the GT3 cars. Should expand out until approximately lap number 29. So the window having opened at lap 12, these drivers have a lot of time to make the decision in GT3 whether or not to come in for fuel.
Yeah, these really still have quite the train, really, other than the leader, Leo Dragotta, opening up almost 7 seconds on the next pair. It's quite the train all the way down the field.
Yeah, and so I was the reason I was bringing up the pit windows, Larry, is especially for these cars here that cannot seem to make any kind of headway here through the shorter sections, the shorter straights here at Fuji. That maybe it would make sense to maybe come into the pit lane early, as I think one of our racers now might be deciding to do. That's Travis Schwenke, coming down the pit lane to take fuel and again try to leapfrog cars in the pits.
Well, this could be a good move for him. We'll see how well he executes this.
Yeah, although he stopped a little short in the box area and had to pull forward, losing a little bit of time there.
Yeah, that always hurts a little bit. We'll see if when he gets back out, if he can find some clear track. That's always the challenge in this. Meanwhile, overall leader Bailey Petrowski can kind of pick and choose his strategy to however he wants to do it. Leading now by almost 13 seconds over teammate Aaron Beaver. So Aaron in the D2D/Invictus Temerario Corsa GTP, along with Bailey Petrowski, and then Kevin Carlisle.
Thank you, Larry. It wasn't written down in front of me, so of course I just fell back to calling it D2D.
Invictus Temerario Corsa.
Oh, very good.
Meanwhile, somewhere Bobby Charles is having a bowl of gelato. And an espresso.
I was thinking more like a cup of Jello or something. Jello for Bobby, not gelato. Yeah.
Meanwhile, this guy continues to build a lead now, 7 seconds, and I don't believe Ethan Bass and Mike Dam are fighting behind them. I think Leo right now just has a pace that no one else can touch.
Yeah.
It's impressive. And there you can see that lead just growing lap by lap. No jumps here.
And that does give him the opportunity, given how much of a margin that he has now, Larry, and it's at just about 7 seconds, that he can certainly do some fuel savings here in order to maybe run his stint a little long if he needs. I mean, I guess the difficult thing would be to judge where he is going to come out in traffic, or if he's going to come out in traffic once he takes his pit stop. But I mean, he's got a big advantage where he is right now. As we watch now the fight between Bass and Dam for second. Again, Ethan Bass, another newcomer to the series, racing here this year for Orbit Drop Bear Motorsport. And between Eagle Beavers and Oregon Orbit Drop Bears, I'm just at a loss for words, more so than usual.
It seems Sam knows a little bit about that team. They've actually been a part of its origins, so
really,
there's a connection tonight.
And Sam says it used to be called Is it Fitzstein or Fitzstye? Gotcha. And yes, I'm actually talking to somebody behind us. All right, and see here another incident currently under review by the stewards. If we get any information from them, we will pass it along.
Well, 52 is one of the cars involved. That's Stacy Bertrand of the LMP2. The other is the 186. Quickly scanning, that's Filippo Barberi in the McLaren GT3. So those are the two under investigation right now.
As we're watching here, Charlie Hosea in the 100 machine. And speaking of Eagle Beavers, Larry,
yeah,
Radburn Shooters coming down the pit lane to take fuel. And we did just have
heavily damaged
Neil
Corvette of Neil Weston.
Yeah, good thing the engine's in the back of that car, Larry. We did just get word on the previous incident, and unfortunately didn't hear somebody got a drive-through penalty. Didn't get the word on.
I believe it was Bertrand in the 52 assessed a penalty for that.
And now just saw it we popped up on from notes from race control at the top of the screen, an incident being investigated between the 151 car that is the 151, that's Andre Wedderburn, and then the 247,
Rocky Rocco.
And Rocky Rocco, the 247. And interestingly enough, Larry, I thought I was sensing some deja vu, because those are the same two drivers, Andre Wedderburn and Rocky Rocco, that we had an incident early on, where Andre Wedderburn had gotten into Rocky Rocco and put him around, and there as we watched the replay, thank you very much, there's my payback. Yeah. As Rocky Rocco now serves
appears to be waiting after the incident. Yes,
to let him by.
He did. He did give the spot back.
Yeah, to give the spot back, and well, it doesn't matter much, because Rocky Rocco is now going to have to serve a drive-through penalty for that incident.
Yeah,
so each one of them now does.
I wonder if the stewards realized he gave the spot back immediately in their assessment of a penalty. If they didn't realize that, it'd be neat if they could, because I think that's the right gentlemanly move for Rocky.
Sure.
When you spin somebody, give the spot back, resolve it right there.
All right, as a couple more drivers coming down the pit lane for their pit stops. Filippo Barberi in his McLaren does so. And we're getting to the point of time where we'll probably start to see more drivers come in. Go ahead, Larry.
Just got to keep an eye on the gap in LMP2. It's come down a little bit. It was over 4 seconds, dipped all to Cushman. Now it's under 4, just about 3.5. Just got to keep an eye on that. That's a doable within reach. And there you can see how that gap has been up and down there between Dibdalt and Cushman. 4 seconds is a doable. There could be pit stops. There could be traffic things. So I think Cushman's trying to manage that a little bit and stay within an achievable goal there.
All right, Larry. So as we're getting towards the top of the hour, we've got some folks taking a look and wanted to find out what our upcoming schedule looks like here in the World Challenge, and have some pretty nice venues that we're going to be at. You know, interesting that we're starting the season off here at Fuji. Typically, we start off at Daytona, but after round number 1 here at Fuji, we're going to be heading to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. That actually is going to be in 2 weeks for another 75-minute race. And then our first endurance race of the season. That is going to be held on Monday night, June 9th from Spa at at Spa-Francorchamps, cannot speak. And then we're going to be heading to Long Beach. Always fun watching these GT cars trounce around Long Beach and go around the fountain. Sometimes not as fun to watch the prototype cars try to get through the hairpin, but we'll definitely be watching there. Oh my, there we go. Jimbo Pfeiffer, another incident for him this evening, and I think that was that Filippo Barberi in the other McLaren right alongside. Oh, man, I'm not going to be the one to pin the blame, but looks like the Speed Lab car.
Yeah.
Actually, here, Larry, getting word that the 78 machine,
John Casey
might have been the other car there. He is going to be the one heading to the pit lane with a drive-through penalty. Oh, this might be another incident involving Jimbo Pfeiffer. Let's take a look. Here as Casey comes to a stop, gets the car back together. Well, all right, let's see here.
So there's that bit of a spin that happened, and that's the contact with your Caleb Lehman.
Oh my. Yeah, and that would explain it as Caleb Lehman now drops through the order because he took the car almost immediately to the pit lane as he's going to end up taking repairs. But Larry, let's do this. We're right at the top of the hour. Why don't we take a quick break? Thanks to our partners and sponsors. And when we come back, I think we're going to probably see the majority of our drivers come in, taking their pit stops, and we'll take you all the way to the checkered flag here at Fuji, where you're watching the season 13 opener of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by the SCCA Foundation and Butt Kicker. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. the search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
Welcome back to Fuji Speedway. It is the season opener of season number 13 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by the SCCA Foundation and Butt Kicker. I'm Greg Ginsberg. He's Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, we're on board right now watching this battle heating up between Shea McNeely and Keith Stein. But before we do that, let's jump over look and watch Bailey Petrowski, our GTP leader.
Ow. And that's the number 10 of Carson Cushman from LMP2. And remember, Bailey had a lead of 10 seconds or
10
more.
seconds.
And now involved in the hairpin with Carson Cushman from LMP2. They went in, looked like it was side by side to me. We'll see what the stewards have to say about that. So far, I don't see any notice that it's being reviewed. But Petrowski, I believe, does maintain this position.
Yeah, and still maintains about a 15-second advantage over Kevin Carlisle, given the sizable advantage that he built up over the course of the race. Yeah. Question, of course, is there damage to the car? Looks to be okay at this point.
Yeah, at least it was a low-speed contact. It's not one of those high-speed T-bone type of things. They were just side-by-side going into that hairpin. But, yeah, there was always a chance there was some damage there. Bailey's teammate, Aaron Beaver from Invictus, he's into the pits right now, so we'll see if that means Bailey may be coming in soon. Meanwhile, this giant pack, which includes a couple of teammates and in some Lamborghinis in there, are now making their way through that first corner. It's Tyler King.
And Tyler, back this season, a brave individual driving the Audi R8 for Aerokinetics this season. As so many of our racers have put in time behind the wheel of the 5 rings and decided never, ever again. Which is so surprising, given that the Lamborghini is essentially the same chassis, and seems to do much better.
Meanwhile, speaking of Lamborghinis, there's a small train of them. Zach DeLeva, Aaron Sunday, Brian Bennett. Bennett has had his share of action tonight. Right now, third in this little bit of train. Now he's going to try and get to the inside under Sunday, and looks like he's going to make that stick. Bennett now moving up a spot all the way to 18th. That's how big this field is. 39 total cars in GT3s tonight.
As Petrowski works his way through, and we see the limit machine go through. Now let's take a look here. Larry, as Ethan Bass now has lost position. He was in that fight with Mike Dam for second, and we're showing now that also Michael Brooks, and his, speaking of Lamborghinis, has worked ahead of Ethan Bass. Let's see if we can find out what happened here.
All right. Let's see if somewhere he has any issues. You can see him right now in this view. He's leading ahead of the 83 of Books. But perhaps somewhere.
Yeah, maybe a
Mike
slowdown penalty.
By. Yeah, maybe we'll try and look for that on replay to see where Mike Dam
side. Yeah, it looked like he pulled over to the side coming out of the chicane, and was almost immediately right back underneath.
All right, well, here's the pass of Mike Dam. As they're heading towards game, Dam just does a really good job later on the brakes, gets to that inside, doesn't really leave any room there for Bass to go. So Bass loses that position and then just struggles to hold off Michael Brooks. And here we are. Meanwhile, Taj Edwards inches closer to this battle, now in the 5th spot. You can see that Orion Porsche just behind those two in front of him are Brooks and Bass.
Yeah, and then again, Keel Spalding, who we talked about, and Spalding, I believe, is running in the pro class here, even as a rookie, indeed, in the number 88 704 Motorsport machine. Again, fastest driver during practice this week, and currently finds himself in 6th position, having made up 7 spots so far this evening, Larry.
The other one I'm going to keep an eye on is going to be Travis Wanke. We saw him take the early pit stop. Just kind of see where he moves his way up this order as things continue to shuffle, with more people starting to take their pits now as we reach the well past the halfway point.
Yeah, and as we said in GT3, pit window going to extend out maybe about another 3 laps, give or take. So we're going to start to see cars come in pretty soon, I think, as they're reaching the end of their initial fuel loads, assuming they went with a full complement at the green flag.
So quick note, we saw the replay there of Bailey Petrowski and I believe that was Carson Cushman coming together. Stewards have looked at that. No further action. They're going to let that one go.
So they consider that a racing incident, and they both race on.
Meanwhile, Deleva, who's sitting here, and I think it's noted as 16th spot in the GT3 category. Just behind Charlie Hosea, I think, out there in front of him.
Yeah, and good to see Zach Deleva racing here in the World Challenge, Larry. Of course, he'd been racing in the Ricmotech Sports Car Series this past season in a GT4 AM Porsche GT4 Club Sport, and multiple race winner, very strong standings, and he is an AM category driver here as well in the World Challenge, and we'll see how he does and stacks up against some of the field. He was in the sports car series. He was regularly contending for overall wins against some of our pro racers.
Yeah. Well, this is that Ethan Bass, having dropped back last couple spots there, now still on the tail of Michael Brooks. You can see Brooks' Lamborghini just kind of moving right along. One of the quickest Lamborghini in the field. Bass, of course, the quickest Mustang in the field. And doing quite well with these 2 platforms tonight. We'll see if Bass can make any kind of move. This is not the easiest track to pass on, just given the way that these corners are configured. A lot of the slow stuff you really can't do much with, as long as you take a good defensive line. It's hard to really to get around somebody. It does have a long straightaway that helps, but these GT3s don't exactly draft as much. Even the LMP2s will give a bigger draft just because they have more drag being an aero car than a GT3 might. We'll see if this time Bass is close enough to maybe get any kind of draft behind that Lamborghini here on the front straightaway. It is one of the longest straightaways of any track we'll come across, but I don't know if the top legs of the bull or the legs in the horse are any faster.
Justin Barrera's in the chat saying, "Let it rain." Something tells me it's not going to happen. But Larry, it's seemingly for what we were told was supposed to be a mid-morning race. It's getting awfully dark for a mid-morning race. Maybe it's mid-morning, I don't know, U.S. East Coast time, which would make it early evening in Japan.
Overcast day here around the Great Mount Fuji.
All right, Carson Cushman pitting in now from second in LMP2, and Josh Chinsky, I believe, coming in right behind him.
And I think Chinsky probably benefiting a little bit from Cushman's run-ins with some other traffic. Obviously, the one with Petrowski slowed down.
And that is literal run-in with Petrowski, yeah.
Yeah, so Chinsky may be able to take an opportunity here to stick with Cushman. Let's see how the pit stops work out, and who's got the more guts to go to the end on the lighter fuel load. We've seen that at this track before, where a miscalculation can cause you a win. So this is not a very small track. One extra lap is all it takes to miss your calculations. So
that is indeed the case. That season finale race, I remember if I remember correctly, caught out Lucas Dragotta on the very last lap. So. That the race went one lap longer than expected, and we had a number of racers short on fuel. And I believe it cost Lucas Dragotta the GT3 AM championship that season.
I'm sure he's not in the chat listening in, as he's already disconnected from the race. So
it's past his bedtime anyhow.
Just cheering on his brother Leo right now, I'm sure.
All right, Dean Dibdahl now is in from the lead. He's the last of our LMP2 racers to pit. He pits in with, I think, somewhere close to a minute over the rest of the field, if I remember correctly. So he had built up a huge advantage. And now, Larry, look at this as we have a number of our LMP2 racers trying to get a draft off the GT3 racers. The Lamborghinis were trying to get a draft off of Charlie Hosea, who was coming in for his pit service. As we have, believe here, well, we know that's Lehman in that. And I think that was Zach DeLeva and Brian Bennett, who have yet to pit, that they stay out for another lap.
Well, Lehman, I believe, has had an extended pit stop, but still able to sort of run with this group. We'll see. Nearly a lap down, though, from the leader is Lehman, but trying to work past Bertrand and get through some traffic. Meanwhile, Cushman is now, after all the pit stops are said and done, he's still about 13 seconds back from Dean Dibdahl, Josh Chinsky in third, just a couple seconds back then from Cushman in second. Meanwhile, the GT3 field, a lot of cars, probably almost half of them, have not stopped yet for fuel. One of those was Carlos Barrero.
Mm-hmm.
His Speed Lab dream to inspire Lamborghini.
And coming in very, very quickly, that is Ryan Amon, and he gets the car woed down before the control line, or so we think. And he'll bring it down for service. All right, your leaders in each class at the moment. Bailey Petrowski leading GTP with Kevin Carlisle and Aaron Beaver. That's 1, 2, 3. In LMP2, Dean Dibdahl, Carson Cushman, Josh Chinsky, your top 3. And there's young Dean, or not as young Dean. Then we've got Leo Dragotta, your leader in GT3 Pro, with Mike Dam and Ethan Bass, your top 3. And I'm trying to figure out who our leader in AM is, Larry. And I think it might be, is it Julio Barrero, possibly? I believe Julio Barrero is your
AM driver.
Your leader in AM.
That's a Tyler King with green banner and number plates.
Oh, well, you know what? Never mind.
Tyler King. Tyler King. Yeah. Meanwhile, the battle for third is into the pits now.
And that will move Taj Edwards up to the lead as his teammates Mike Dam and former leader Leo Dragotta come down the pit lane. But there's Bass, there's Keel Spalding into the pits as well. Shea McNeely.
I think the whole top 6 all pitted pretty much at the same time. Obviously, Leo Dragotta, the first one to get out of there. But look at what's happening behind as Dam just barely gets out in front of the Mustang there of Bass and Brooks also. Look at all 3 of these guys, nose to tail. I suspect perhaps that Bass is taking a chance here on fuel levels to make it to the end.
Yeah, indeed. So he does leapfrog Michael Brooks in the pits, gets back the position that he lost on track.
Yeah, consider where he was a couple seconds behind Mike Dam, and now he's basically a car length. Huge pickup improvement there for Ethan Bass.
Yeah, and I think, Larry, probably the time on the pit lane probably spells the story there for Ethan Bass, 51.28, a couple tenths longer for Michael Brooks.
But look at that Mike Dam. May have actually been the slow one in that group there.
Yeah, indeed. As he was almost a second and a half slower off the pit lane than the two drivers behind.
Yeah, the quickest one, Leo Dragota. He's doing everything right tonight. Assuming he makes it to the end on fuel, he's doing everything right tonight. Meanwhile, his teammate, Taj Edwards, pits what was the lead for a moment. So dropping back a little bit. We'll see how far. Maybe he can catch up to that pack as well that has his teammate, Mike Dam, now leading that pack in second place. So second, third, and fourth. Can Taj Edwards make it a close fifth?
And Tyler King now bringing his car down the pit lane. The Aerokinetics machine, it actually moved up to second position overall before needing to come in for service.
Well, there's Bass with Mike Dam right in front of him. They're putting a lap on. And there's Taj Edwards coming out of the pits to rejoin right at the tail end of this pack. So he's going to rejoin in fifth. A little bit of traffic, I think, between he and the fourth place car. There's Keel Spalding currently in sixth in that Mercedes, the 704 Motorsports entry, having completed his pit stop.
And Tyler King will rejoin in 11th in GT3.
It might be our AM leader. We'll have to keep our eyes on
at
that.
The moment, he is still your AM leader with Barrero second.
Is Keith Stein in AM?
Don't believe so.
He is pro.
Larry, here's a big development in GTP, and we're watching here Kevin Carlisle and Carlisle doing a 360 and then puts the car into the wall, trying to back off the track and let the drivers through.
We'll see if he's got any damage from that, having tapped the wall going backwards.
And Larry, he's on the pit lane, and although he had not pitted for fuel yet, he was at the very end of his window.
Okay.
But there he is.
Pit stopped. It looks like too.
So we'll see here
no tire
how long
change, it appears.
It takes.
Or he's got some repairs to take. We'll see. Meanwhile, that'll move Aaron Beaver solidly into second place, just about 21 seconds behind race leader Bailey Petrowski, and Carlisle's back underway.
All right, so
13 seconds, 14 seconds or so back from second place Aaron Beaver.
All right, another new driver to the series, Colin Winslow in the 704 Porsche. Larry gives up 8th position to Shea McNeely from Orion. As Winslow, I'm wondering if we've just got to run on North Carolina drivers here. You know, we talked about Keel Spalding from 704 Motorsport, and he is a North Carolina driver here. And I'm going to try to check on Colin Winslow and see if I have any information on him, which of course, no. Oh, yes, I actually do. Oh, no, he is also a 704 Motorsports driver. So there you go. That is that's Spalding's teammate, another North Carolinian.
Well, the other one to keep an eye on is going to be Ilya Speaker. Speaker had not been this far up, but that's Ethan Bass. Whoa, he was all the way to third, had been running in second for a lot of this race. Now he's struggling here in what looks like through turn. This should be 15.
15.
Yeah, it just loses the back end. That's going to drop him down the order, but at least a spot or two. He was up in third. I think he's going to slot back in fifth.
In 5th position, Larry, in a pretty distant 5th, about 7.5 seconds up the road is Taj Edwards.
Yep, and behind him a couple seconds now is going to be Keel Spalding, about 4 or 5 seconds back from where Bass ends up rejoining. But yeah, mentioning Ilya Speaker in that Acura, had a very quick pit stop and was able to move up, take advantage of it. We'll keep our eye on him to see if he's able to hold that spot, currently up in 7th in GT3 Pro.
And I think so far he's our hard charger of the night, Larry, as he is up 11 positions, started off in 27th.
If the pit time on my screen is accurate, and believe me, it never is, if it were, it'll be tough for him to make it to the end. We'll see if that holds true. Just something to watch for the Rockefeller Racing driver. There you go. The speaker in the Acura with another Acura right behind him. It looks like maybe a lap down. Yeah, that might be Adam Ballard right behind him who's a lap down. The other one we mentioned earlier was Travis Schwenke, who did the early pit stop. He's got himself up into the top 10. I don't know if he's going to be able to make any moves to try and catch up there to Winslow and McNeely up in front of him. But Schwenke, I'm sure, was hoping for a bit more improvement for that early pit stop, a bit more of an undercut advantage. Not sure it happened.
All right, Larry. Well, we've got 15 minutes remaining here at Fuji for round number 1, the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge.
I almost forgot we had a BMW in the field tonight. Penn here today, running in the BMW here in GT3. So good to see there he is. The Lead Paw Motorsport entry. Giving up a spot to Neil Weston in the Corvette. Got some aero challenges there for Neil Weston. Yeah, missing the front clip off that Corvette, but doesn't seem to be hurting him too badly.
This is where I say, Larry, it looks almost like a BMW M4 GT3.
He may have some issues turning the car around the 100R. Is Neil Weston.
Well, pretty much the only thing that's left at the front is the steering rack and the front wheels. So.
Adds an extra cooling to the Corvette. Gets more air into that radiator that takes up the entire front of the car. Meanwhile, Battle of Lamborghinis, Zach DeLeva, Brian Bennett duking it out here. The aerokinetics against the Sector 5. Oh no!
And that's Andre Wedderburn. Ooh.
Is it Filippo Barbieri right next to him?
Yeah, I
and
think
these are all teammates. Wait a second.
Yeah.
All of these, all 3 of them in that shot, they're all teamates.
They're all teammates,
what's going on here?
Oh my. Yeah, well, the Audi now looks very hurt.
Yeah, that there appears to be dynamic camber in the back of the Audi. He's just trying to make his way back to pit in, I presume. Can he make it around?
Oh.
He made it.
For now.
For the moment. Bailey Petrowski, very cautious making that pass.
Yeah, you would be too. I think, luckily for Wedderburn, I think most everything else at this point is going to be a right-hand turn, including a right-hand move to the pit lane here as he makes it back successfully. But I fear that with less than 15 minutes remaining, his night is likely done.
Yeah, I think that left rear has got a little bit of extra toe in it, I would suspect. Does not look comfortable.
No, not at all. It's probably not supposed to be pointing towards the right front axle. All right.
Probably not. Okay.
So he's back on the pit lane, and
well, a little bit ago I mentioned Travis Schwenke needed to work up to Kyle Winslow. Well, he's caught him. This is the battle for 9th now. Winslow in the yellow Porsche, Schwenke in the Orion white and blue. There you go. Good shot on board of Travis, looking forward at Mr. Winslow.
Yeah, and that was a good shot of Travis. I note to Ken Copeland, apparently the way to avoid the sausage curbs is to drive inside of them. Which is what we just saw Schwenke do.
Good solid tip right there.
Yeah, he likely picked up a 1X in the process there, but kept from putting the car on its side.
So you get the master of Ginsburg to bring you the broadcast of the races. He teaches them deep insight of stay off the curb by staying inside. Schwenke gonna make the move here on the front straight. See if he's got the inside line. Can he outbrake Winslow? And I think he can. Can he get it woed down? Winslow gets into the back of him and up and under. Winslow's going to get the better run coming out, but Schwenke's on the good side of the track for turn 3. Coca-Cola curve ahead. Schwenke going to push a little bit, take that room. Can he hold on to it? I think maybe the pass is finally complete.
And it is complete. And, you know, Larry, if Schwenke had shifted the car over driver's right just a smidge more, well, one, he might have gotten taken out, but he would have been able to, I think, a little bit more successfully defend against that over-under. But in the end, 3 turns later, Travis Schwenke now moves up into 9th place in GT3. As we shift a little bit further back to our overall leader, Bailey Petrowski, who now, since the pit cycles, Larry, has increased his advantage over Aaron Beaver and Kevin Carlisle by another 14 or so, or about another 10 seconds. The gap now 24 seconds back to Aaron Beaver in second.
It's impressive what he's able to do in this car, and really in any car. We've seen him in GT3s, and now we're seeing his mastery at the wheel of these GTPs that he's done in the past. He's just doing it again lap after lap. Meanwhile, Dibdahl has got a pretty substantial lead, 13 seconds over Carson Cushman as he's working his way past. I think that was our leader in GT3, or was that one of the other? That is, yeah, that's Leo Dragota, your leader in GT3. That your leader in LMP2 just made his way through with 10 minutes to go. Leo's lead is now. What's that?
I said relatively quiet evening for Leo Dragota.
So far, so good. Yeah, as we are about 65 of our 75 minutes here. Leo Dragota, 11 seconds on teammate Mike Dam. It's as if Mike Dam has just got no answer for what Leo has been putting in tonight. And really, the rest of the Orion team and the rest of this field is just kind of all of them fighting for second. That battle for second now is about 4 seconds from Dam to Michael Brooks, who's having also a pretty good return to the Ricmotech World Challenge here for one of the Brooks brothers. He's right now being cheered on by Ken Copeland. He's happy to cheer on some of his Wrong Stuff teammates.
Just got a quick look at Keel Spalding there, starting to looks like make up a little bit of ground on Ethan Bass ahead. Well, now as Bass crosses the line a couple seconds ahead, well, no, there you go. Spalding lapping in a couple hundredths faster than Bass this last time by. Last lap was almost a second faster than the Mustang driver as we go and look off the rear wing of SCCA Foundation's Jeff Jacobs.
Yeah, he's gone further into the swamp with his livery this season. Add a little bit of gator, even more gator to his already gatored livery.
Oh my!
Pride of Gainesville here, showing off his fandom and his natty national championship there across
Beavers
the deck
on the sides of cars with wings. We've got bears. We've got gators. I'm just waiting for DNA. I'm waiting for the DNA Motorsports logos that may not have Sebring on the schedule this year, Larry. It's right now we are still TBD on the final 3 rounds of the season. So,
one can only hope that we're going to see some swap in that final 3 and bring out some of the DNA drivers, who, by the way, are notably absent, but also to bring them out with their famous swampy livery. Lots of battles still underway here as Charlie Osei and Zach DeLeva, they're still battling it out right there. They're battling for 20th, but they're nose to tail as if it's for the lead between Charlie and Zach. Zach going to try and take the outside, force Hosea into a bad line through the chicane. Hosea very smartly defending, holding that center track, keeping Del Leyva behind him as now they head up turn 13, 14, 15, 16. These long up and down sort of carousel, like, oh no.
Oh. And I think that was that Josh Vidal or who?
Carlisle.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, I thought
Kevin
Vidal
Carlisle
to go avoid, but it was Kevin Carlisle in the Cadillac that had spun the car, put it mid-track perpendicular, sent everybody off to avoid.
Yeah, there's Carlisle in the background there, having recovered, but we got nearly a 3 wide here as Vidal, Brian Coxon, Jeff Jacobs, all of them going to try and make into turn 1.
And Coxon, another one of our new racers this year in the McLaren, gets by Jeff Jacobs to move him up into.
Let's see what happened to Kevin Carlisle, and what put him cross track here through turn 14, 15, and just loses it. Tries to get out of the way and just parks it and has to just watch. Oh, he even tries to get out of the way, maybe at the wrong time, but Kevin recovers and gets going again without contact. How did everybody avoid him? Oh my. All right, so Vidal now gets past the rest of them that just went by him a moment ago. There's Coxon, there's Jacobs, there's Vidal. And Stubby in the chat reminding people to hit that like button. So thank you, Stubby. Well, Hosea's got an extra couple of car lengths now over Del Leyva. But we may have another incident.
Yeah, let's take a look here. Larry, going down into turn 1, we've got the
Russ
Corvette
Ruddock.
of Weston, and I think that was
That was an aggressive
Ruddock?
for Weston. That was Russ Ruddock.
Yeah.
There's Ruddock there in the Flying Tortoise. Ruddock trying to. Apparently, the turning radius of a Mustang is the same as my F-150. And a little bit of K-turn. He's got himself back on track. But for Ruddock, I don't know if there's anywhere Russ Ruddock was supposed to go. I think Weston thought there was going to be room there. It looked like maybe Ruddock was going to let him through, but not to be. We'll see if the stewards have something to say to Mr. Weston, who's apparently already. I don't know how much more damage you could do to the front of a Corvette.
He's trying. And Ruddock's car looked like it came through, maybe not completely unscathed, but doesn't seem to be nearly the amount of damage that I would have expected given the velocity of the hit there going into 1.
Yeah.
And Larry, things are closing down just a little bit here.
So
in the battle for second in LMP2.
This is the part of the race where if somebody has run themselves short on fuel, they're going to have to fuel save right now, which sometimes you get this coming in the end. So we're going to keep an eye on Cushman and Chinsky and Griffin. All 3 of them, I think, kind of running somewhat close together here for second, third, and fourth place in LMP2. With probably 2 laps, perhaps?
2 laps, maybe?
We'll see. Depends on where Bailey Petrowski is. I think he might be closing in on finishing a lap. He might have 2 full laps to go at his pace.
And Larry, I don't know if you noticed the special livery that Josh Chinsky is racing, but along the sail panel in the rear of the car, the Indianapolis skyline, and of course the famous tagline, "This is May," obviously for the Indianapolis 500, and of course Josh is lives in Indiana, so very subtle, but there it is, very subtle but distinctive livery there for the racer.
Home again in Indiana.
Thank you, Jim Neighbors.
Thank you. Somebody knew. Someone's old enough to remember.
That's right.
That it is Jim Neighbors. He used to sing that every year. There is Josh trying to chase down Carson Cushman for second. We'll see now with, I'm guessing, a lap and a half, depending on where Petrowski is. Petrowski, I think, is just about halfway through. There he is. There's Bailey. If they get lapped, that'll cut them down to basically white flag next time by, because I think Bailey's going to get white flag next time by. I don't believe he's on a white flag yet.
Yeah, well, with only 2 minutes
remaining. 1 minute to go now.
1 minute remaining, yeah, it'll be white flag next time by.
It should be if Bailey can get there. His lap times have been in the low 130s, so he should be able to get around here in the next 40 seconds and start a lap, which means it's going to maximize. Anybody that tried to cut short on fuel may be about to regret that, as Bailey may have done it again and got an extra lap in the race with his sheer speed. We'll see. Keep our eyes on some of those drivers we thought maybe were cutting it close.
Like
the speaker was one of them. We'll see where he ended up. Meanwhile,
at this point here, their speaker, he's got McNeely about 6 seconds up the road, and Josh Vidal getting around Jeff Jacobs. So move Vidal up to 18th in GT3.
And these guys momentarily will get their white flag for one more go round. I believe.
As Jacobs is trying to hold off Charlie Hosea, kind of stop the bleeding there just as our LMP2 field comes through.
They might be on the last lap because Bailey Petrowski is coming up on this group very quickly. Somewhere in there he is.
Yes.
Yep. So there could be about 8 drivers here he could get by that could end themselves early. These guys, however, we're talking about Ilya Speaker. He may have run out of fuel. We'll see as he is starting to go slow here.
Yes, and he just gave up a spot to Colin Winslow, I believe. So,
yep.
Oh, yes. Let's see here, and let's see what Bailey Petrowski does. Petrowski, I think he's decided to just kind of let them go. He may have just ruined a bunch of people's races by sitting back there.
Let's see what happens. He's got Zach DeLeva right in front of him, and he's going to wait.
Yeah, he's going to wait. Off. There you go. So taking the win in GTP is going to be Bailey Petrowski, but let's see now who can actually finish.
Yeah, smart move by Jeff Jacobs. He's going to go ahead and get his finish right here. He's not going to have to run again. But remember that Zach DeLeva, Charlie Hosea battle was going on, and we've got a winner, it looks like, in GT3.
That's it. Leo Dragota takes the win in round number 1, following up on his season 12 championship run. Takes the win here from Fuji in GT3. Mike Dam finishing second. Michael Brooks coming home in third, as we're now watching our LMP2 leader, Dean Dibdahl, as your pole sitter, fell back to 5th on the first lap. But Dean Dibdahl is on his way to taking his first race win in the Ricmotech World Challenge here in LMP2.
Yeah, great return there for the rocket ship Dibdahl back into the Ricmotech world and getting a win here in his debut. That's great for him. Great way to start off that season. But man, I'm still waiting for the rest of this field to see who doesn't make it around on fuel.
Well, look at this, Larry. Look how close it's getting now between Carson Cushman and Josh Chinsky. But it looks as though Cushman
and Jordan Griffin.
And Griffin as well, as Carson Cushman's going to come home second to Dibdahl, then with Josh Chinsky taking home third, with Jordan Griffin just off the podium in 4th in LMP2.
That was a shot of Ilya Speaker, just along on fumes at this point. But here's a few others still just finally coming in, and a lot of them aren't even going to go around for an extra lap. Some of these guys,
Barney should flip around, do a 180, and give him the checkered flag on the pit lane there.
Yeah. All right, so absolutely chaos all over the field tonight. Great runs for Bailey Petrowski, Dean Dibdahl, Leo Dragota. for our 3 pole sitters, just class the field in each of their races. I can't wait to talk to them.
All right. Well, Larry, we're going to give you a chance, but first we need to take a break and thank some of our partners. We'll be back here in just a few moments with our race winners from round number 1 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge presented by the SCCA Foundation and Butt Kicker here on Apex Racing TV. Stay with us.
Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Expert support. Ricmotech has you covered. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
And welcome back to Fuji Speedway, where you've just seen round number 1 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenges season number 13, Lucky 13. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod. Let's go and take a look at that finishing order, that great 75-minute race that we've all just witnessed, taking the win in GTP. Bailey Petrowski, whoops, there we go. Bailey Petrowski, it's listed as D2D Sim Racing, but Larry, what's the real name of the team?
Audio course, something.
Yes,
Invictus.
That. Or as I like to call it, D2D Sim Racing. All right, that's your winner in GTP, with Aaron Beaver finishing second from the same team that neither Larry and I can get out of our mouths, and SimCity's Kevin Carlisle finishing in third. In LMP2, Dean Dibdahl from Rocket Ship Racing is your winner. Josh Chinsky from SRT finishes in second.
Carson Cushman, I believe, is second, so they're showing him a lap down because they issued a post-race in the sim, a black flag for hitting reverse to back up to the start line for the pick.
Okay.
That they always do with all the winners and podiums and stuff. And I don't know. My suspicion is they will fix that in the points.
Okay.
That's why your results are showing him.
Yeah. So they show Cushman down in 6th position, and we showed on timing and scoring that he finished second, about 17 seconds back from Dean Dibdahl, I believe. So all right. So Purple Sector Motorsports, Carson Cushman finishing second. Josh Chinsky from SRT finishing in third. And if we move over to GT3, taking the GT3 Pro win, Leo Dragota with Mike Dam finishing second, both of them from Orion Racing. Then Michael Brooks from The Wrong Stuff. Great to see the TWS folks back here this season with us. Michael Brooks taking home the bronze, with Taj Edwards finishing just off the podium. And Larry and I are now trying to take a look to see who our GT3 AM winner is. and I believe it was Julio Barrero that came off with the win in the 211 McLaren. Julio racing for Speed Lab Dream to Inspire, and if he didn't win, of course, nothing that we say is official, and you can't hold it against us, and you won't get extra points because I screwed up. So it was Julio that Barrero who took the win. And let's do this, Larry, because we've never heard from Julio before. This being his very first race in the World Challenge. He's sitting in the green room now. Let's talk to him.
Julio Barrero, we believe you are the winner of GT3 AM here in the opening round of Fuji. Crazy night. Your, I believe, debut now in the Ricmotech series. How did your night go from your standpoint?
Great. I didn't really know what to expect coming into it, but no, it was some amazing racing. Really happy to be racing in the league for sure. Satisfied with the result. Really want to say thanks to Speed Lab and Dream to Inspire and all their neuro work that got me to the top.
Yeah, we had seen a moment there where I think you and even two of your teammates were around you, kind of in a bit of a scuffle there. I don't know if you guys were trying to avoid each other or what was going on, but it looked pretty treacherous there coming to the end of the race.
Yeah, no, racing against my brother and is interesting for sure. Mm-hmm. But we have good competition going on, and we try to be as safe as possible.
Yeah, it looked like an absolute ton of fun. Welcome into the league. As you said, it wasn't quite what you weren't sure what to expect. Did it meet any expectations in terms of either level of competition or just the way this whole league is run so far?
No, for sure. Completely past my expectations. This is amazing. I hope to stick with it and see you guys next season, of course. And I'll be here every race.
That's incredible. So tonight you get the win in GT3 AM in your debut. Not easy to do, but congrats to you for that. You mentioned already you've got a good teammate. Anybody else want to mention, either other teammates or friends and family maybe watching in?
Yeah, for sure. All my whole family for being here for watching me, and definitely Speed Labs again for my whole team coaching me. So thanks again to them.
All right, well, great job, Julio, getting a win here in GT3 AM tonight in your debut at Fuji.
Thank you.
All right, Larry, let's move over now to GTP and our overall winner tonight. Maybe we ask Bailey what team he races for, but driving his Ferrari 599, the number 115 machine of Bailey Petrowski.
All right, Bailey, the field of GTPs may have been a little bit light tonight, but certainly you put the hurting on everybody. And I think you may have even done it again, just like you did a couple seasons back. You earned the extra lap, and there were some people out there running out of fuel. Does that make you proud that you're so fast? Other people are struggling to make it to the end.
Oh, that's always the goal. That's my job in this series right now. With as few prototypes as there are, I have to make everyone else's lives miserable.
Well, that was great. It looked like, and even in the end, you had a chance to pass a pack of GT3s. You said, no, you guys need an extra lap. Was that on purpose? You just didn't want to interfere with their race?
Yeah, it's a bit of... Yeah, it's just with having so few prototypes, there's a lot of moments where I ran into where it's just, I can't justify going for an aggressive move or passing certain people at certain times, so it was, I don't know, it's just not trying to interrupt people's fights. That was my main goal. I wanted to still drive like how I usually drive, but not mess people up too much. That was mostly my goal for tonight.
Yeah, well, your speed was spot on. You were super fast out there. We did, though, catch the replay there of you, and I think that might have been Carson Cushman kind of coming together at the chicane. Was that just one of those you guys each thought you left each other room and just a little bit of door rubbing?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a misjudgment from me. I thought I could clear him a bit more, and then I underestimated how much deeper the LMP2s could break compared to the GTP, so I expected to be able to clear him a bit, not the other way around of him almost being able to fully clear me, and then by that point I couldn't really slow down more at that point. I was committed to my braking zone and couldn't back out, and it didn't end up interfering with him, only messed with my race, so it worked out fine, but it's a good lesson to learn, so it's something I'll have to look back on, see just how I could approach it differently.
it's a reminder how big those GTP cars really are, and that they do in fact have to. Their braking definitely takes a little longer, and their slow speed, slow corner min speed is typically even a little slower than the lighter LMP2s. But I guess even Superman's got a little bit of a chink in the armor there. He's not perfect, so even though you win like you do, every once in a while it's good to see a little bit of misjudgment out of you. It makes you seem human.
Yeah, there's always something to learn, especially, I'm just happy I finished the race after my last experience here. I think it was the only clip I had in the highlights for Apex Racing was me crashing in the chicane. So I'm glad I made it to the end this time.
Well, we've got the person here that might be able to put your other incident on the podcast here this week also.
we'll get all those incidents all lined up for you. But awesome job here. Class of the field, once again, even if it's a small prototype field, you're still kind of showing them all how it's done. Impressive stuff. But I know you've got a team that you can pronounce for us, and you can thank them while you're pronouncing your team.
Yes, I don't know if it's official yet. We haven't even talked to Bobby yet, but I believe we're going back to the just D2D sim racing. That's just back to our original. Yeah, it's kind of that for all of us. But we had the tribute season for Ferrari, and it was a lot of fun. Appreciate the amount of work Bobby put into the liveries and getting all that set up. So that was always great. Definitely appreciate everything Bobby does for our team. Still missing him being out with his move, but we'll look forward to having him back hopefully for the next race. But yeah, want to thank the sponsors to our team that keep us going. Want to thank Ricmotech and Butt Kicker for helping keep this series going and always putting in their support for the series, as well as the SDK Foundation. You guys at Apex Racing, you always put on a great broadcast, and it's always very professional watching back and looking at it. And I want to thank all the friends and family watching. That are always supporting me in the races and just supporting me in my hobby. And yeah. Oh, and also thanks to all the new drivers for the series.
Lots of them, and it's great to see the series continue to grow. Lots of new names. It's always fun. But I'd like to see some more of the DNA Motorsports guys and build up these prototype classes. Just
I know. I'm missing them.
Keep you in check.
Yes.
All right. Well, getting the win here tonight in the season opening round here at Fuji. From D2D, aka whatever you are, Invictus to Audio Corsa, there it is. Your winner tonight, Bailey Petrowski.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, guys.
All right, thanks so much for joining us, Bailey. All right, Larry, and as I'm looking, I don't see our GT3 Pro winner or LMP2 winner showing up in the green room. So why don't we see about wrapping things up for the evening?
Something young drivers.
Exactly.
I get that joke out of my system.
Well, we know that's why Lucas retired the car earlier.
Congrats to both Dean Dibdall and Leo Jagoda for winning their classes in dominant fashion. Very well done.
Absolutely. Congratulations to both of them. And congratulations to Rich on your new comedy career. All right, let's take a look at what we've got coming up in the next few weeks here across our different Ricmotech series. Next week, Monday night, May 12th at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time. We've got round number 2 of the Ricmotech Touring Car Cup for our Hyundai Elantra TCR cars, as well as the Toyota GR86 Cup cars. We're going to be at Mid-Ohio for a 60-minute run to the checkered flag. If you would like to be on the grid at Mid-Ohio next week, you can go to xmsracing.com/series/TCC. Just go down to the bottom of the screen and click on that button to join the league. Then in 2 weeks, it's round number 2 of the Ricmotech World Challenge, and we will be heading, Larry. I have Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta as round number 2. The administrators have Watkins Glen for round number 2.
I'll take either one.
Yeah, I will take either one, and 75 minutes at either one of these classic American racetracks. You don't want to miss that. Again, that's 2 weeks from tonight, Monday night, May 19th. And in 3 weeks, we're going to take the evening off for Memorial Day here in the United States. And then on Monday night, June 2nd, the Touring Car Cup heads to Laguna Seca for round number 3. All right, so for Larry Lefty McLeod, for Sam Fitzpatrick there, pushing all the buttons and making us look good, although they can't make us sound good. I want to thank you all for joining us here this evening, and we'll see you next Monday night from Mid-Ohio.
High-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.